Hello, and this is what our South African National Qualifications Framework looks like. I will spend a few minutes with you going through each of these columns and telling you what they mean within the framework itself. So if we look at the first column, we look at this, and this is called the levels. The NQF, the National Qualifications Framework, has 10 levels on the NQF, and that's from level 1. It starts with the level 1 and it goes on to level 10. So what do we mean by levels? In these levels, let me use the description, let me describe it by using an example. If we look at your grade 9 in schools, your grade 9 is the equivalent of an NQF level 1. When you finish your matric at school, your matric is the equivalent of NQF level 4. So with that explanation in mind as a course understanding of the NQF levels, let's just look at what bands comprise. That's your second column. What bands comprise the NQF? So we got your General Education and Training Certificate, which is the certificate you obtain once you've completed your grade 9 at school, and then you're officially on the NQS framework level 1. So level 2 and level 4 in South Africa, we'll refer to these stages as your further education and training band. So and if you look at the qualifications here, you would have occupational qualifications and you would have your TVET colleges that play in this space as well. So your further education and training is level 2, 3, and 4. So the culmination in the further education and training could either be your matric, or it could be a further education and training certificate within the occupational space, which is your QCTO and related qualifications, or it could be your NCV4 or your N4. So all of these qualifications are within the NQF band, within the FET band. We look then a little higher up on the bands itself. We have NQF level 5 to NQF level 10 on the band, and these are your higher education space. This here forms your post-school and within the university sector. Now, perhaps not only in the university sector, because you would find just now, as I explained to you, that if you look down the columns within this particular space, you have the QCTO qualifications also falling within the bands 5 to 8 as we currently stand. But generally speaking, all your university qualifications from level 5 to level 10. So that explains your general education and training certificate. It explains what we mean by further education, and it explains what we mean by your higher education. So what are the qualification types? And we look now at this particular column, which is your column 3 in the diagram itself. So in this particular column, it outlines what are the qualification types that you have. So on your level 1, you will have your general certificates normally. So they're your QCTO type qualifications at NQF level 1, and you would have your certificates level 2, level 3, and your FETC certificates, further education and training certificates at level 4. And then your higher ed post-school begins from level 5 at higher certificate, diploma at level 6, a bachelor's degree at level 7, a postgraduate at level 8, or an honors degree as we used to call them. Some universities still have the honors degree, the master's degree, and your professional doctoral degree. So those are the qualification types that are found on each of the bands. So we have 3 quality councils in South Africa. The 3 qualification councils are all responsible for the design and development of qualifications and the quality assurance of those qualifications. Let's take the first one, and that's the QCTO. So what does QCTO stand for? It stands for Quality Council for Trades and Occupations. So QCTO has qualifications, as you can see, starting off here, let me use a red pen, starting off here and on level 1, and it goes all the way to stop at a level 8 up on the top here. Now this is 2020 that this video was made, and QCTO has up to qualifications now being written up to level 8, and they have, however, in terms of the legislation, if they want to go up to level 9 and 10, they could write to the minister and say, we're now ready to develop qualifications. So they're not closed from developing qualifications all the way up to level 10. But we will speak on another video on the QCTO itself and the difference between their qualifications and other qualifications. For now, I would focus on just on the NQF. If we look at the TVET colleges, that's in the next column, you will find your National Vocational Certificate, your NCV programs are again between levels 2 and level 4. This is the space that the NCV programs and your TVET colleges play in. Then you've got, you must have heard of the N1, N2 to N6. So this is where they play. Your N2 qualifications are here at the equivalent of the NQF level 2, and your N4 generally is here, and then you have your N5 and N6, that's the higher levels. So these are your QCTO, your TVET colleges, your NATED qualifications, that's how they fit there. And the sub-frameworks is your higher education sub-framework, that is your HEQSF, that looks after qualifications in the higher ed space, and they're contained in this particular space here. And then you have the QCTO OQSF, which is the QCTO sub-framework, and they actually work in the space here. Now, you also heard of ABET qualification. So where does ABET fall? Remember, your ABET level 4 is equivalent to your NQF level 1. So that's where your ABET falls. ABET 1 to ABET 4 culminates on ABET 4, which is equivalent to your NQF level 1. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what the landscape looks like, qualifications looks like, and how they focus on the landscape itself. The more details will be unpacked in videos that follow.